In today's video, yet another weekly condo market updates. In today's version, we're going to go through some per square foot prices in downtown Toronto by particular neighborhoods. Thereafter, we're going to go through some average prices so far in 2021 for the entirety of Toronto, not just downtown. Let's get to it. Hello everyone, this is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate and Remax Realtron Realty Inc. As always, back with another video for you guys here today. In today's video, we're going to talk some PSF prices for the downtown Toronto area and then some average condo prices for the entirety of Toronto. Before we get into that, as always, you can find my contact information in the description box with regards to my Gmail, my Instagram, and my office and my TikTok. Feel free to find my office address and information for any of your inquiries. If you have any further questions about topics discussed in this video, topics discussed in previous videos, and feel free to go find me on the social media platforms. Lastly, as a point of order, feel free to subscribe, comment, rate, and review if you want to. You don't have to. And the link to my newsletter in the description. Now, with that all out of the way, let's get to the point of today's video, which is, as always, condo prices, another weekly condo market update. I believe this might be the 40th or 39th edition. We'll see in the title, obviously. Anyways, so I thought we'd take a look at condo prices for the entirety of the city of Toronto, so not accounting for obviously Peel region, York region, so far into 2022, and also look at PSF prices for downtown Toronto by particular neighborhood and major intersections. Let's start with the condo prices in terms of the city of Toronto at large so far in 2022. Now here I made this bar graph to illustrate condo prices in terms of average sold prices across the city of Toronto, obviously across all condominium types and sizes and ages and variety, right? This is an average sold price of all condo types, broken down by weeks. So we have the first week of obviously 2022, which is January 1st to January 7th, and then the next consecutive week, obviously from January 8th to 15th, and so on and so forth, to the full day before the date of recording of this video, which is the 28th. So we only have for the last week, not the full, obviously, week. We have only until the 27th because that was the last full day of recorded transactions. And here clearly we see, according to this bar graph, once again, average sold prices. The first week, it was quite moderate compared to the consecutive weeks we are looking at, where the average sold price for the first week of January across all condo types in the city of Toronto was $724,000. This was only based upon 160 or so sales, because obviously in the first week of the year, although yes, you do have more transactions, listings, generally speaking, than the preceding holiday weeks in December, you still are coming into the new year and you typically don't have that many listings coming onto the market. And obviously this year we've been dealing with historical inventory problems. Even for January 1st, this is still lower, right? If we look at 2020 January 1st, 2019 January 1st to January 7th, the transactions would be higher because listings were higher. Nonetheless, around $724,000. Then we see a noticeable uptick into the second week across Toronto in terms of the average sold price across Toronto condos to $759,000. Here, the gap between the average, which is what we're looking at in terms of $759,000, and median is noticeable, right? Because we're accounting for such a variety of condominiums. It's not really compact in terms of size options. We had a couple of $2.9 to $3.1 million transactions, older condominiums that were depreciated around maybe $460 to $520, or newer, smaller studios around the same price range, right? So here, if we were to look at the median, it would be much lower. Nonetheless, a noticeable uptick in price, but also into the second week, a noticeable uptick in sales, 344 sales. And here firsthand, I saw in the market a lot of people feeling pressure to purchase potentially at that current moment in time, obviously, where popular consensus was that rates may go up on the 26th. So there was a flurry of activity occurring on the behalf of buyers in anticipation for obviously what in retrospect we know wasn't a hike in rates, but at the current moment in time, the popular consensus was, yes, a anticipated hike in rates. There's really climaxed into the 15th now to the 21st, where Average sold prices shot up another degree to $778,000. Transactions remained the same, maybe dipping a bit actually. Last I looked at it, it went from 344 sales/transactions to around 330 to 325. So in the same ballpark, right? And it was actually in this week where the 2 condominiums that I sold within this past week, with only a day to 2 days on the market, well, I got in touch with my sellers at this current moment in time because given their particular situations and the market trends, it was a good time for them to list their property, particularly in their situation where they had the properties in North York, and North York was seeing more of a uptick than other comparable areas. And that actually goes even in comparison to certain parts of C1. North York actually saw greater growth and greater demand than certain areas in C1, C8, and Midtown Toronto. So for those sellers of mine, it was particularly important for them to go on market. Nonetheless, moving forward, coming into this most recent week, which is once again not a full week, average prices have dipped in week 4 of 2022 across all Toronto condominiums and all condo areas. We're now, once again, not a full week, right? We are looking at an average sold price of $768,000 according to 260 sales. So also a noticeable dip in sales. The drop in sales is more of a symptom of the inventory problem than it is lack of buyer interest. Of course, there is a lot of demand. Now, when we're looking at such small sample sizes with regards to week, right? And we're looking at average sold prices, I frankly would not put too much stock into these prices. They're definitely not inaccurate, right? They do paint the general picture, and the general trend line of increasing prices is very much so accurate with this regard. But, of course, I try to be as specific as possible, and frankly speaking, a week-to-week view such as this, once again, is generally accurate, but for more specific and more accurate analysis, we really have to try to be less general and more specific. So instead of looking at across all condo types, looking at particular condo types within particular areas, particular age range, so on and so forth, right? But nonetheless, once again, I want to clarify that yes, this does put forth the point that prices have rapidly shot up in January, and once again, not from just the quantitative but also the qualitative. On my day-to-day business working for sellers, I have seen that there is ample demand, and we've been selling things above asking price, and even not at bidding war situations, right? We've been selling things above asking where we didn't even go on market, trying to induce a bidding war. Now going forward, transitioning into the PSF portion of this video, where we're gonna look at downtown Toronto condo areas per square foot. And here we're gonna look at per square foot prices for condominiums in 2022 versus the entirety of 2021. Now, once again, I wanna preface this part as well, saying this is not the exact best comparison, right? Because 2022, we're only 27 full days into it, and we're comparing per square foot prices of 27 days, comparing it to an entire year of 2021, right? Once again, that preface is important. But in the similar vein, this does also point us towards the right direction. PSF wise, in downtown Toronto, certain areas have completely skyrocketed. For instance, Yonge corridor is up $90 per square foot in 2022. And here we're looking at 1,104 in terms of PSF for Yonge corridor, and up $90, and I've seen an uptick in demand as well. Now, obviously, this new PSF in 2022, it's still far shy of what PreCon projects are offering in terms of PSF, such as the most recent PreCon project I went through, church project by Center Court development. There you're looking at 1,500, 1,300, maybe 1,400, right? There you were looking at 1,400 to 1,500. For studios, 1,800. So even 1,100, of course, still is a lot for resale and a lot for Yonge corridor, but it's shy of what PreCons are offering. Bay Street corridor also up about $80 PSF into the new year, into 2022, where per square foot Bay Street corridor average we're looking at 1,194. Previous year we were looking at 1,114, right? And I always say this, by the way, Yonge corridor and Bay Street corridor leads the pack, but there is always a lot of similarities in terms of trends we see. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer to translate into Church-Yonge corridor. But from my professional opinion and studying the areas for long as I have for this channel, for my clients, I have noticed that there's always kind of a butterfly effect occurring between these two areas more intimately than other areas. However, above all and probably up the most is the King West area by $124, right, per square foot into 2022. Here, one beds have seen the biggest increase where you're looking at $1,300 per square foot into 2022. And the way I like to describe King West, I guess, to my clients is that the reason it's such an ideal area for a lot of people is that it's kind of like a, for lack of a better word, synthesis of Bay Street corridor and the entertainment district, right? A lot of working professionals do require residency in King Street West because of its proximity to the offices and the financial sector, but at the same time there is ample entertainment on King Street West. So it's kind of a perfect mixture. If you're looking at an area for perfect mixture of end user lifestyle and proximity to work lifestyle, then King West is probably one of the best areas in downtown Toronto. The Yonge and Bloor area is also up substantially as well in terms of per square foot prices. And here, frankly speaking, I've been keeping a close eye on One Bloor, and One Bloor really does impact this area a lot more than other buildings do to their intimate area. One Bloor is obviously one of the more sought after buildings in downtown Toronto. And it's actually gonna be quite interesting to see how the construction and completion of the other One Bloor, I believe they're calling it the One Bloor to differentiate, which was supposed to be the tallest tower, but no longer will be the tallest residential tower in Canada, which is set to complete in a couple of years, how that is going to impact the PSF prices of One Bloor. But not all areas are up in terms of PSF. For instance, like Yorkville is down. Two things that I want to emphasize on that regard. First and foremost, this is only 27 days of sold data compared to a whole entire year, especially with Yorkville. One transaction can throw off the entire PSF accounting of things. And you might add, well, why is this the case with Yorkville but not King West where the areas were up? Well, because Yorkville is such a particular area and it's such an expensive area, you're not gonna have transactions every other day, right? So enough transactions to suffice for 27 days. In other areas, we discussed, you have enough transactions to suffice for 27 days, where one transaction, although yes, might throw off the data more than the entirety of the year of 2021, still won't impact data as much as a transaction in Yorkville. You don't have that many sales, right? And we're only 27 days. Anyways, that's it for today's video. This is a weekly condo market update. Many videos coming up next week. As always, you can find my contact information in the description box. Feel free to subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe and stay tuned. Thank you.